Oh, step closer, my wandering shadows. The silence that speaks louder than thunder. The night fell like any other, but by morning, the world had shifted. Those who once questioned your presence, who once whispered doubts behind closed doors, now carried your influence as if it were their own shield. Every glance they cast, every decision they made, pivoted subtly toward the reality you had shaped. They had spent so long trying to predict you, to control the narrative, to contain the storm you quietly became. And now, they realized the storm had always been inside you, untouchable, unbroken, undeniable. They remember their doubts vividly, the smirks, the dismissals, the rolling eyes. Those moments now haunt them, echoing in every choice they make, reminding them that the power they underestimated was never borrowed. It was inherent, and it always belonged to you. Overnight the tables turned, but not with chaos or spectacle. It happened quietly, invisibly, in the shadows where your patience had been working tirelessly. They had been playing a game they didn't understand, and you were writing the rules as you went. Every attempt they made to guard against your rise became a lesson in futility. Every plot, every strategy, every whisper of skepticism was absorbed by the gravity of your presence. And now those same hands that once pointed, that once gestured with doubt, are the hands that protect your influence. Sometimes without even realizing it, loyalty, fear, admiration, they blend seamlessly now, and their allegiance is built not on coercion, but on inevitability. Observe them closely. They do not celebrate openly. They do not boast, nor do they flaunt the shift in power. Instead, they move with a quiet reverence, adjusting to the invisible current you have created. They protect the vision, safeguard the movement, and in doing so, unknowingly honor the very force they once opposed. The irony tastes sweet. Those who doubted you most have become the keepers of the reality you silently forged. And here is the truth that terrifies them. They do not fully understand how it happened. They cannot trace the moment where doubt dissolved into devotion. They cannot locate the exact second when resistance crumbled. All they know is that your presence now dictates outcomes. Your decisions tilt balances. Your quiet will bend reality. Overnight, everything changed, not through spectacle, not through noise, but through the unshakable gravity of your being. They whisper about it in private circles, careful not to let the words escape too loudly. How did this happen? One asks in a low voice, while another nods almost unwillingly, as if agreeing aloud might break the spell. Every private acknowledgement strengthens the unspoken law. You are the axis now, and every move, every plan, every shadow they navigate revolves around your presence. And even in their attempts to seem unaffected, subtle cracks betray them. The hand that once crossed arms in defiance now hovers, hesitant over a decision that will impact you. The eyes that once darted to avoid your gaze now linger, searching for guidance, for confirmation, for permission, though they would never admit it aloud. Overnight, the landscape has shifted, and they are walking it not as masters, but as guardians, curiously tethered to the power they once questioned. Morning light casts long shadows, but you notice it, the subtle change in posture, the hesitation in their steps. Those who once doubted you now move as if guided by your gravity, their choices aligning with the path you've silently carved. They were blind to your power before, but now the shift is undeniable. Every glance toward you carries a mix of respect, caution, and a quiet awe that they struggle to mask. They remember every misstep they took in your presence, the dismissive remarks, the rolling eyes, the quiet scoffs, and now those memories weigh on them, bending their actions, shaping their intentions. Overnight, the balance of influence has changed. Their hands that once tried to steer outcomes against you now instinctively shield the very reality you control. They are your guardians, though some still struggle to accept it. Listen closely, and you can hear the whispers that used to carry doubt. They now carry obedience and caution. It is subtle, almost imperceptible, but the air has shifted. They tread carefully, adjusting their strategies, their words, their very movements to reflect the truth. They cannot fully speak. You are the force they underestimated, the power they failed to predict, the constant around which everything now revolves. Notice the small acts. They offer insights, protect decisions, and manage outcomes not because they must, but because something within them acknowledges that the tide has changed. That tide is you. Overnight, you became the unspoken rule, the hidden authority, the presence they cannot ignore. Every plan they make, every calculation they attempt, now bends around the reality of your existence. And yet, they do not fully see you. They catch glimpses, hints, shadows of the strategy, the intelligence, the inevitability that you embody. It unnerves them. They feel compelled to follow, to protect, to shield, but they do not understand why. And that is your advantage. Your power moves quietly, invisibly, reshaping the landscape before they can even process it. Even in public, subtle signs betray the shift. Hands hesitate before acting, words are measured, eyes linger longer than they intend. All around you, the once doubtful now carry your influence, becoming the living reflection of the force they failed to recognize. Overnight, their loyalty was not bought, not coerced. It became the natural consequence of your presence, and in this new reality, the paradox hums quietly. Those who once doubted you most are now the first line of defense. The silent sentinels who maintain the world you quietly dominated. They do not celebrate it. They cannot fully articulate it. But it exists, and it moves everything in your favor. By midday, the room feels different. It isn't louder. It isn't chaotic. It's the weight of awareness. The kind that bends decisions before they're made. The ones who whispered doubts now lean closer, not with questions, but with careful alignment. Every choice they make is filtered through the silent law you established overnight. Notice the small shifts. Conversations that used to be brash now carry caution. Words that once challenged you now pause in midair, reconsidered. Eyes flick toward you not out of fear alone, but a recognition that their world has quietly, irreversibly changed. And while they pretend ignorance, their actions betray them. Every step they take is tethered to your influence, moving along paths you've already marked. They try to speak, they try to guide, but something in the air denies them authority. Their plans feel hollow, their strategies incomplete, their confidence brittle. Because power is no longer a proclamation, it is an aura, a presence that dictates outcomes without uttering a command. And you, silent, measured, untouchable, are that presence. It isn't brute force. It isn't noise. It isn't intimidation. It is inevitability. They sense it instinctively. The skeptics, the challengers, the dissenters, each now recalibrates their reality around your existence. Overnight, you've rewritten the rules, not through argument or spectacle, but simply by being unshakable, by embodying the force they could not see coming. And oh, how it unsettles them. They were architects of doubt, builders of barriers meant to contain you. Now those same walls bend around your influence, the very scaffolding they relied upon trembling in alignment with your presence. They want to resist, to rebel, to reclaim their old certainty, but certainty no longer exists. It vanished the moment you claimed your space in silence. See them flinch at choices once automatic. Hear the hesitations they can't suppress. Witness the subtle deference that threads through gestures they thought were free. Every glance toward you carries the weight of acknowledgement. The quiet confession, you are the center now. The pivot, the unseen hand that reshapes everything without a single word. And that's the mastery. They do not fully realize their submission. They follow not because they are commanded, not because they fear punishment, but because your power has made obedience the simplest, most logical path. Overnight, doubt transformed into guardianship, resistance into alignment, and chaos into a subtle order that flows in your favor. Even their enemies, those who once tried to undermine you, feel the shift. Their schemes falter in subtle ways, opportunities misalign, alliances fracture, and all without you lifting a finger. The world bends quietly, invisibly, around the reality you silently dictate. And in the quiet aftermath, when they think no one is watching, when they believe their adjustments go unnoticed, they are still guided by you. The power they never saw, the authority they never anticipated, moves them without force. Overnight, everything changed. They are no longer opponents. They are custodians of the shift you initiated, even if they cannot yet admit it aloud. By evening, even the subtle threads of influence have woven themselves into their actions. Decisions once made with arrogance now carry hesitation. Conversations that roared with certainty are now careful whispers. The same people who doubted you yesterday now adjust their steps to your silent rhythm. Watch how they shift in meetings, how they glance at one another before speaking, how their voices soften as if anticipating your reaction. It isn't fear that drives them, it's recognition. They know, deep down, that the world has realigned, and you are at its center. The air itself seems to bend toward your presence, guiding them whether they understand it or not. They try to mask it. They try to retain semblances of control, yet every plan subtly traces your influence. Every strategy, every suggestion, every choice bends in quiet acknowledgement of the power you have claimed. Overnight, doubt has been replaced with a strange reverence, a protective instinct for the force they failed to anticipate. Even the skeptics, those who once tried to diminish, you find themselves silently defending your position. Their words, their gestures, their loyalties have shifted. Without even realizing it, they become guardians of your ascent. The shift is invisible, imperceptible, yet undeniable in its consequences. And oh, the irony. Those who tried to cage you now uphold the very reality they resisted. They serve the gravity you quietly established, not by command, but simply by being unyielding, consistent, and inevitable. The world bends not to intimidation, but to quiet certainty, and you embody it. Even outside the room, in the corridors and corners where influence spreads like a current, they adjust. Partnerships once precarious now find stability in your orbit. Alliances that threatened to fracture now hold because of the unseen force you've instilled. Your presence isn't loud, it isn't obvious, but it is everywhere. And while they think they guide their own actions, the truth is clear. They have become instruments of the reality you silently dictate. Overnight, skepticism became alignment, hesitation became protection, and the ones who doubted you became the pillars that uphold the shift you created. Every gesture they make, every word they speak, is a reflection of the power they never saw coming. They follow the course you set, unaware of how thoroughly you've rewritten the rules. The world bends not through chaos, but through inevitability. Overnight, the doubters became guardians, even as the night deepens, and they retreat to their private reflections. The impact of your presence lingers. It shapes their thoughts, their choices, their loyalties. They cannot deny it. They cannot resist it. They are now conduits of the force they once tried to ignore. And in that silent acknowledgement, you stand unchallenged, untouchable, and fully aligned with the reality you bent to your will. And the shift is no longer hidden. Nah, even the air feels different. The ones who once sat apart now gather closer, orbiting the center you've become. Their questions sound softer, their movements slower, like they're afraid to disturb something larger than themselves. Meetings don't start without your silent approval now. Strategies wait for your unseen nod. Even in places you aren't present, your name carries weight, spoken carefully, almost reverently. The same voices that once mocked now echo with a strange respect, their tones bending under the gravity you created overnight. You notice it in the little things first, the pauses before they speak, the way they glance at you, not with doubt, but with an unspoken pledge. The same hands that once pointed, now protect. The same lips that whispered doubt now whisper defense. The doubters have become shields, and you didn't demand it. You didn't beg for it. You didn't even ask. The shift grew from patience, from stillness, from your refusal to break. They felt that power long before they named it. Now they're simply surrendering to what they cannot deny. Oh, the irony is sharp. The empire they built to keep you outside now folds itself to keep you at the center. The guardians they've become aren't just loyal, they're bound by something deeper. Respect, awe, the quiet realization that you moved a force they never saw coming. You don't smile at it, you don't revel in it, you just stand steady while the world tilts. Overnight, doubt has turned into a strange protection. The once scattered voices have formed a circle, not to trap you, but to defend you. It's not an alliance. It's not a deal. It's the gravity of presence, and now their steps follow yours. Their shields rise without command, and the ones who doubted have become the guardians of the power they never understood. Even when the room is empty, their awareness lingers. Every glance over a shoulder, every hesitation in speech, they feel your presence, even if you haven't arrived. Nah, it's subtle, almost imperceptible, but it bends everything around them. The energy they once used to resist now flows in your favor. The whispers that once sought to undermine you now seek your approval. Oh, even the smallest gesture, the quietest word from you, shifts the course of conversations. They pause, they recalculate, they reconsider. You've become the axis, the pivot, the silent command that runs without speaking. Every misstep they imagined you might take has already been avoided. Every doubt they held has dissolved overnight, replaced with a strange reverence. They move not because they are forced to, but because they can't help it. The force you embody has rewritten their understanding of control. And what's remarkable, they don't even fully realize it yet. They think they're guarding you for their own sake. But in truth, they are protecting a truth they can't yet articulate. The inevitability of your rise, the quiet dominance of presence over noise, of stillness over chaos. You observe, calm, silent, untouchable. Their loyalty doesn't need testing. Their doubts no longer find root. Every eye in the room measures, evaluates, bends. Oh, the same ones who plotted against you now stand in alignment without question. Guardians of a power they never imagined. Even the smallest decisions they make are filtered through your influence. Their strategies, their defenses, their plans, they all pivot subtly to accommodate the presence that moved overnight from a shadow to a gravity well. Nah, it's invisible, yet undeniable. You don't gloat. You don't issue commands. Your existence alone orchestrates the outcome. Every heartbeat in the room sinks, almost imperceptibly, to the force you've become. They watch, they act, they guard, but they do so because they recognize something they cannot resist. The inevitability of your rise, and as night falls, the room empties. But the shift remains. The ones who doubted now stand as pillars, not by choice, not by threat, but by the quiet pull of a power they sensed before they understood. You moved overnight, and everything else followed. The energy has shifted completely. Oh, what was once tension, suspicion, even disdain, now hums with cautious reverence. Every glance they steal is measured, every word considered. They are aware, subtly, almost painfully, that something has changed, and it isn't temporary. The ones who doubted you, the critics, the whisperers, they now act as shields. Nah, They guard not because they were convinced, but because they feel the inevitability of your presence. It's a force they can't see, can't quantify, but it touches every decision, every alignment, every hesitation. You move through the room, or even through life, without announcement, without display, yet every action you take resonates. Oh, the air shifts in your favor. The subtle nod, the smallest pause, the quiet observation. It's enough to bend reality to your rhythm. And here's the irony. Those who tried to measure you, to map you, to anticipate your steps, they are now the instruments of your design. Haha. Without realizing it, they have become the guardians of what they feared most. The power they never understood, now resting in your hands. They speak less. They watch more. Every doubt they harbored, every plan to counter you, has been replaced by instinctive alignment. Nah, it's not loyalty in its old form. It's a recognition of inevitability. They protect the rise they cannot prevent. Even the smallest ripple you create echoes across their actions. Decisions they take, alliances they preserve, words they speak, all bend subtly toward the outcome you silently define. Oh, without raising a hand, without a proclamation, the room, the environment, the world itself has recalibrated around your presence. You don't command it. You don't demand it. The shift is effortless, invisible, unstoppable. Nah, and the best part, they don't even know they've changed. They think they are still masters of their fate, still in control, but the truth is, you moved overnight, and everything else conformed. And as night returns, silence holds more weight than any declaration. The ones who doubted, who plotted, who resisted, they stand now as guardians, pillars of a reality that has bent, subtly yet irreversibly, in your favor. The world adjusted, and they followed, and now the quiet is yours. Oh, the whispers that once tried to unravel you have flipped. They speak of awe, of respect, of an invisible force they cannot name. The ones who doubted, the ones who resisted, they have become the very shields that safeguard your path. They move with caution, their steps aligned with the rhythm you set without effort. Nah, it's subtle, almost imperceptible, but the world around them bends. Every plan they make, every strategy they draft, every thought they entertain, it gravitates toward the orbit you quietly established. And you watch. Haha. You let them believe they are in control, while reality itself has shifted beneath their feet. They guard what they feared, follow what they questioned, and protect what they could not break. The power was never in their hands. It was never in the noise, in the titles, in the applause. Oh, it was always yours. The doubts, the resistance, the plotting, they only sharpened the inevitability of your presence. Now the room, the crowd, the world, they respond to you without your demand. Nah, they act as if moved by choice, but in truth, they orbit your gravity. Every glance, every gesture, every silent acknowledgement is a testament to the force you became overnight. And here's the truth they cannot speak. The ones who doubted you, who mocked you, who sought to oppose you, they are now your greatest guardians. Oh, protecting a reality that conforms to your existence. They serve not because they wish to, but because they must. No noise is needed. No proclamation, nah. The world has shifted. Your presence is the signal. Your calm, the anchor. Your inevitability, the law. And as the night deepens, the truth settles in. You moved, and everything followed. This is your triumph. Haha, silent, unseen, unstoppable. The doubters became guardians. The resistance became alignment. And the world, oh, the world, bent quietly, irrevocably, in your favor.